Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
Welcome.
I used to think I was one of the lucky ones. 8 years of marriage, a home we built together, and a woman I loved. Jessica and I had our routines, our small joys, our quiet moments that felt like they would last forever. But love doesn't shatter all at once. It cracks slowly, pieces falling away bit by bit, until one day you wake up and realize you're standing in the ruins of something you thought was indestructible. It started with the perfume. Jessica had always worn a soft, floral scent, the kind that clung to her skin long after she left a room. But one night, when she kissed me goodbye before heading to girls' night, I caught something different. It was sharp, unfamiliar, expensive. New perfume. I asked, trying to keep my voice light. She hesitated. Just for a second. If I hadn't been watching her closely, I might have missed it. "Oh, yeah. Ashley bought it for me," she said, adjusting the strap of her bag. She said it was sexy. Sexy. Jessica never used words like that to describe herself. She never cared about how others saw her, at least she didn't used to. I let it go. That was my first mistake. The next thing was her wardrobe. Jessica always dressed well, but suddenly, she was putting more effort into her appearance. Tighter dresses, shorter skirts, red lipstick. She started wearing lingerie again. But never for me. I wanted to ignore it. I wanted to believe I was imagining things. Then came the girls' nights. Jessica was never a party girl. She used to joke that being at a bar after 10 p.m. was her definition of hell. But now she was out late almost every weekend. "I just need time with the girls," she'd say with a soft laugh. "Ashley says I'm too much of a homebody." Ashley, her best friend. She mentioned Ashley a lot lately. Too much. Then the phone changes started. First, it was small things. Jessica used to leave her phone out in the open, notifications lighting up without a second thought. Now, it was always face down. Then one night, I tried to check the time on her phone while she was in the shower. Just out of habit. The screen stayed dark. Face ID only. She had changed her password. A cold weight settled in my stomach. I told myself it was nothing, that I was overthinking things. Then I saw the credit card statement. A $250 charge at the Rosewood Hotel. I stared at it for a long time, my hands gripping the phone so tightly that my knuckles turned white. Jessica never mentioned staying at a hotel. Never mentioned a spa day or a brunch reservation. And what hit me the hardest? That charge happened on a night she told me she was at Ashley's place. My stomach turned. I knew. I just needed proof. Confronting her now would be stupid. If she was cheating, she'd lie. So I decided to be patient. I waited a few days, acting normal, pretending I wasn't suffocating under the weight of my suspicions. Then one night, while Jessica was asleep, I picked up her laptop. I opened Google Maps and checked her location history. She had forgotten to turn it off. There it was. Friday night, the Rosewood Hotel. Saturday afternoon, a random residential address on the other side of town. Wednesday evening, the same address. I copied the address and pasted it into Google. It wasn't a restaurant. It wasn't a gym. It was an apartment complex. My throat tightened. I memorized the location, shut the laptop, and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while Jessica slept peacefully beside me. I had to go there. I had to see who lived there. And that was how I found Ashley's apartment. I sat in my truck, staring at the apartment complex, my grip tightening on the steering wheel. The address I had pulled from Jessica's location history was right there on my phone. I scanned the parking lot, searching for her car. Nothing. But then, toward the far end, I saw a familiar black sedan. Ashley's. A wave of nausea rolled through me. Jessica had spent countless nights claiming she was at Ashley's. She had used her as an alibi over and over again. But if Ashley's car was here, and Jessica wasn't, then she was lying. Again. I already knew which apartment was Ashley's. I had been here before. A year ago when she had invited us over for a housewarming dinner. Back then, things were simple. Jessica and Ashley were inseparable, and I thought Ashley was just another harmless part of our lives. I remembered her unit, second floor, Third door on the left. I needed answers. I climbed out of the truck and made my way inside. I walked down the dim hallway, my footsteps muffled by worn-out carpet. Standing in front of her door, I hesitated. If I knocked, there was no turning back. I exhaled sharply. Then I knocked. Soft at first, then harder. I heard footsteps. The door creaked open an inch, a chain lock still in place. Ashley's face appeared in the gap. And the second she saw me, her eyes widened in shock. She wasn't expecting me. "Nick?" she whispered, like she wasn't sure I was real. She hesitated for just a second, then undid the chain and pulled the door open fully. Ashley wasn't dressed to go out. She was wearing leggings and a loose sweater, her hair tied up in a messy bun. No makeup, no jewelry. She hadn't been out tonight, which meant Jessica wasn't here. My chest tightened. "Can I come in?" I asked, my voice cold and controlled. Ashley swallowed. She hesitated again, glancing over her shoulder like she needed to think about it. Then, finally, she stepped aside. The second I walked in, I knew. Ashley wasn't nervous because she had something to hide. She was nervous because she knew exactly why I was here. Ashley shut the door behind me, but she didn't speak. I turned to face her. "Where is she?" I asked. Ashley's lips parted, but she didn't answer. Her fingers curled into the fabric of her sweater, and she suddenly looked uncomfortable, like she wanted to be anywhere but here. I clenched my jaw. "Where is Jessica?" I repeated. "She told me she was with you tonight, but I checked. She's not even close to here." Ashley let out a slow, shaky breath. She ran a hand through her hair, avoiding my gaze. "She's with him," she finally muttered. The words sent a sharp, physical pain through my chest. I swallowed hard. "Who?" She hesitated. Then, finally, she muttered the name. "Ryan." Jessica's affair runs deeper than I thought. Ryan. A name I had never heard before. And yet, he had my wife. Ashley was watching me carefully, gauging my reaction. I exhaled slowly, trying to steady the fury rising inside me. "How long?" I asked. Ashley hesitated, then sighed. 6 months. Maybe longer. 6 months. I clenched my fists. Half a year of being lied to, of Jessica sneaking around behind my back, using Ashley as an alibi, and Ashley had covered for her. Until now. I looked at her carefully. She wasn't gloating. She wasn't even apologetic. She was angry, and that's when I realized Ashley wasn't doing this for me. She was doing this because she hated Ryan. I narrowed my eyes. "You don't just hate him," I said slowly. "There's more to this, isn't there?" Ashley let out a bitter laugh. She picked up her wine glass, took a long sip, then set it down harder than necessary. "I was seeing him first," she said flatly. My stomach twisted. "What?" Ashley exhaled sharply, shaking her head. "I was talking to him before Jessica ever met him. She knew I liked him. She knew we had a thing." She looked up at me, her eyes filled with bitterness. "And she took him anyway." Ashley's true motivation. Jessica hadn't just cheated. She had stabbed her best friend in the back, too. Ashley leaned forward, her voice low and sharp. "Jessica thinks she's untouchable," she said. "She thinks she's playing it safe, keeping you around as backup while she figures things out with Ryan." Her fingers curled around her wine glass. "She doesn't deserve to get away with this, Nick. Not after everything she's done. To you. To me." Her meaning was clear. Ashley wasn't telling me this out of the kindness of her heart. She told me because she wanted revenge, too. And she was handing me the weapon to destroy Jessica's perfect little fantasy. I sat across from Ashley in her small apartment, my head pounding like a war drum. The truth was out, but it didn't make me feel better. If anything, it made me feel worse. Jessica had been lying to me for months. 6 months. Maybe longer. She had used Ashley as an alibi, made a fool out of me, mocked me behind my back. And for what? For some guy named Ryan. A man I had never met. A man she was probably with right now. I clenched my fists. I wanted to hit something. Smash something. I wanted to drive to wherever they were and drag him out by the collar. But that's what a fool would do. That's what Jessica expected me to do. No, I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. I wasn't going to lose my temper and give her the easy way out. I was going to make her regret ever thinking she could play me. Ashley leaned back in her chair, studying me. She could see the rage in my face. Maybe she even enjoyed it a little. "So," she said, swirling the wine in her glass. "What do you want to do?" I exhaled slowly, forcing my hands to unclench. "I want proof." Ashley smirked. "Oh, I've got proof. The evidence that changed everything." She set down her glass and reached for her phone. A few taps later, she turned the screen toward me. I leaned in. A folder of screenshots, text messages, emails. The first one made my stomach turn. "Jessica, he's so clueless. I don't even have to try to hide it. It's honestly pathetic." I gritted my teeth, forcing myself to keep scrolling. "Ryan, when are you gonna dump him already?" "Jessica, when I'm ready. No rush. He's still paying for everything, lol." My grip on the phone tightened. Then I found the worst one. "Jessica, I told him I was at Ashley's again, lol. He actually believed me." I set the phone down before I crushed it. Ashley was watching me carefully. "Told you," she muttered. I inhaled slowly. My heart was hammering. This wasn't just cheating. This was complete disrespect. She thought I was a joke. She thought I was nothing. I lifted my gaze to Ashley. "You're right," I said. "She doesn't get to walk away from this." Ashley smirked. "Good. It wasn't about getting even. It was about taking everything from her. Jessica had lied to me, used me, humiliated me, but she had also made one crucial mistake. She had underestimated who she was dealing with." Ashley pulled up her laptop and started transferring the messages. "Here," she said, plugging in a flash drive. "You're gonna want these." I stared at the screen. "Who else knows?" Ashley shrugged. "A few of our mutual friends probably suspect. But no one has proof. Not like this." I thought for a moment. Then I looked at her. "What about Ryan's wife?" Ashley's eyes widened slightly. Then a slow, satisfied grin spread across her face. "Oh, Nick," she murmured. "Now you're thinking." Ryan was married. That meant Jessica wasn't just screwing around. She was screwing around with someone who had everything to lose, and I was going to make sure he lost all of it. Ashley pulled up Facebook and found Ryan's wife's profile in less than 30 seconds. Her name was Claire Hansen, a polished, elegant woman with 2 young kids. Her photos painted the perfect picture: happy family vacations, expensive date nights, anniversary posts. The kind of life that Jessica would never have. The kind of life I was about to tear apart. I grabbed my phone. "How do I send this to her?" Ashley laughed. "Oh, sweetheart, let me handle that." She drafted the message herself. "Hi, Claire. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but I think you deserve to know the truth. Your husband, Ryan, has been seeing my wife, Jessica, for at least 6 months. I've attached proof. Screenshots of their messages, location history, and some of the things they've said about you. I wouldn't want to hear this from a stranger either, but I'd rather you hear it from me than find out the hard way. Sincerely, Nick, the man they thought was too stupid to figure it out." Ashley pressed send. I leaned back, exhaling sharply. And just like that, the first crack had formed in Jessica's fantasy. Ashley turned to me, an eager glint in her eyes. "So, how far are you willing to take this?" I met her gaze. "What do you mean?" She smirked. "I mean, are you looking to ruin just the affair? Or are you looking to ruin Jessica?" I thought about it. For a split second, I imagined the easy way out. Just exposing her, divorcing her, walking away. But then I thought about all the times she looked me in the eyes and lied. I thought about all the times she mocked me behind my back. And I realized I wasn't letting her walk away. "I want her to lose everything," I said. Ashley grinned. "Now we're talking." She pulled up another folder of messages. This one wasn't between Jessica and Ryan. It was between Jessica and her boss. I frowned. "What am I looking at?" Ashley's grin widened. "Sexual harassment," she said. I stared at the screen. Jessica had been flirting with her married boss, suggesting private meetings. making comments that could, if framed the right way, sound a lot like inappropriate workplace behavior. Ashley looked up at me. "Wouldn't it be a shame," she said innocently, "if someone forwarded these to HR?" I hesitated. That was crossing a line. Then I thought about how Jessica had no problem crossing that line with me. I grabbed the flash drive. Ashley winked. "That's my boy." I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured Jessica laughing at me in those messages. "He's so clueless. It's pathetic." Those words stuck to my brain like glue. It wasn't just the betrayal that stung. It was the mockery, the complete lack of respect. She thought she was untouchable. By tomorrow she was going to learn how wrong she was. Ryan's wife reacts. The first domino fell early the next morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking coffee that tasted like nothing, when my phone vibrated. Ashley. Holy shit. She saw it. My heart kicked into gear. "Who?" I typed back even though I already knew. "Claire." She messaged me. "She's blowing up Ryan's phone. He's screwed." I smirked. Good. I could only imagine how that conversation was going. Claire was smart. She wasn't the type to sit quietly while her husband screwed around behind her back. And just like that, Ryan's life was on fire. I set my phone down, a sense of satisfaction washing over me. One down. One to go. Jessica notices the cracks. At noon, Jessica called me. Her voice was too sweet, too careful. "Hey babe, just checking in. How's your day?" I smirked. She was feeling something. "It's fine," I said, my tone neutral. "You sure? You sound weird." I let a few beats of silence pass. "Do I?" "Yeah." "Did something happen?" I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. She was testing the waters. She didn't know yet. I wanted to laugh. She had spent months lying to my face, manipulating me, playing me for a fool. Now it was her turn to feel like something was lurking in the shadows. "Everything's fine," I said again, then hung up. Let her wonder. The breaking point. That evening it happened. Jessica came home late again. Only this time, she didn't waltz in with her usual smug confidence. She was on edge. She walked into the house too carefully, like she was stepping into a trap she couldn't see. I watched from the couch, my face unreadable. She gave me a forced smile. "Hey." I nodded. "No hi, babe. No, how was your day?" Jessica shifted on her feet. "Everything okay?" I shrugged. "Why wouldn't it be?" She let out a nervous laugh. Then her phone vibrated in her pocket. She flinched. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. "Who's that?" Her face froze, just for a second. Then she shook her head, forcing another fake laugh. "Oh, just Ashley." She was lying. She knew. And she was terrified. The message that broke her. An hour later it happened. Jessica was in the kitchen, scrolling her phone, trying to act normal, trying to convince herself that everything was fine. Then her screen lit up. She went completely still. Then, just like that, she turned white. I watched as she stared at the screen, her breathing uneven. Then she got up and hurried into the bathroom. I gave it a minute, then two. Then I followed. I pressed my ear to the door. She was crying. I smirked. She had seen it. Claire had messaged her. Ryan's wife had blown up the whole damn thing. I knocked on the door. Jessica sucked in a shaky breath. "Yeah. You okay?" I asked. Silence. Then a forced, choked, "Yeah. Just give me a second." I folded my arms. "Take your time." Then I walked away, my smile wider than it had been in months. Her panic grows. For the next few days, Jessica unraveled. She thought she was subtle, but I saw everything. The way she checked her phone constantly, but didn't answer calls. The way her hands trembled when she poured coffee. The way she kept glancing at me, like she was waiting for me to explode. But I never did. I was calm, patient, and that scared her more than anything. The final nail in the coffin. 3 days later, Ashley sent me the final piece of the puzzle. "Check your email. I sent you something." I did, and my jaw clenched. It was a screenshot of an email sent to Jessica's HR department. A polite but firm report detailing inappropriate messages between Jessica and her boss. Nothing illegal, but enough to make corporate take a long, hard look at her. Ashley had done it. Jessica's job was about to go up in flames, too. I exhaled. She deserved this. Every bit of it. Jessica wasn't sleeping. For days, I watched her fall apart. She moved through the house like a ghost, jumping at every notification, clutching her phone like it was a lifeline. But every time she checked it, her face crumbled a little more. Ryan had stopped answering her calls. Her boss had called her into a private meeting. And I was calm. Too calm. And that scared her more than anything. She could feel the ground beneath her shaking. She just didn't know how hard she was about to fall. Ryan cuts her off. It happened on a Thursday night. Jessica sat curled on the couch, staring at her phone screen. Her knee bounced restlessly, her breathing shallow. I leaned against the kitchen counter, sipping my beer, watching. She exhaled sharply, then, finally, muttered something under her breath. Bastard. I smirked. Who? Jessica flinched. She hadn't realized I was listening. She swallowed hard. No one. Bullshit. Her entire world had just collapsed in one text message. Mobile phone with arrow Ryan. Don't ever contact me again. I told Claire everything. It's over. I could picture her stomach dropping. Her one-way ticket out of this marriage? Gone. I took another sip of my beer, pretending not to notice the way her hands shook. Let her sit in it. Let her drown in it. She had spent months lying to my face, laughing at my stupidity. Now she knew what it felt like. Her job falls apart. The next morning, she got a call. I was in the bedroom when I heard it, but I didn't have to listen too hard. She wasn't exactly quiet. Mobile phone with arrow, what? No, that's a mistake. Mobile phone with arrow. I didn't say that. Who told you that? Mobile phone with arrow, please, I can explain. Silence. Then a choked sob. I smirked. Jessica had just found out about the email. I stepped into the hallway just in time to see her slide down the wall, shaking. Her phone was still pressed against her ear. She saw me. For a second, I thought she was going to say something. Then her face crumpled, and she burst into tears. The confrontation. That night, she finally broke. I was sitting on the couch, watching the game, when she stood in front of me. Tears streaked her face. Her breathing was uneven. Her eyes, red-rimmed and desperate, searched mine. Nick, she whispered. I didn't answer. Her lip trembled. I need to tell you something. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, she swallowed. I made a mistake. I let out a humorless chuckle. Which one? Jessica flinched. Then, like a dam breaking, she started sobbing. I was stupid. I was so stupid. She wrapped her arms around herself, pleading. I don't know why I did it. I don't even love him. It was just fun. I offered coldly. Her face twisted in shame. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. You lied to me, I said evenly. You used me. You mocked me. And you thought I wouldn't find out. Jessica shook her head violently. No, I swear. I never meant to hurt you. I laughed. Really? She fell silent. I studied her face. The panic. The guilt. She had lost everything. Ryan. Her job. Her security. And now she was realizing she had lost me, too. And I wanted her to feel every bit of that loss. The final blow. I stood up, towering over her. Jessica shrank back. I exhaled sharply. Then, I reached into my pocket and pulled out the flash drive Ashley had given me. The one with every single piece of evidence. Jessica's eyes locked onto it. She went completely still. I smirked. This is everything. Every text. Every email. Every lie. Her breathing hitched. Nick. I tossed it onto the coffee table. I want you out of my house, I said flatly. Jessica froze. Her eyes widened. Wait. Pack your things, I said, my voice cold. You're done here, she gasped, like she had been sucker punched. She didn't think I'd actually do it. She thought after all this, I'd forgive her. But I wasn't that guy anymore. I wasn't the clueless husband she could manipulate. I was the man who just ended her entire goddamn world. Ashley's final betrayal. I should have felt victorious. But something nagged at me. Something wasn't right. Later that night, I got a text from Ashley. It's over. She deserved every bit of it. I smirked, typing back. Damn right she did. But just as I was about to set my phone down, another notification popped up. A message from an unknown number. I frowned. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. You're next. Attached was a screenshot. One of my conversations with Ashley. One where we had plotted against Jessica. And at the top of the screen, the recipient was clear. Jessica. The final twist. Ashley wasn't just after revenge. She had played Jessica. And me. She had been collecting evidence. Setting me up. And now she had turned me into the villain of the story. Jessica was going to flip this on me. Make me look like the abusive, manipulative husband who had been plotting behind her back. And worst of all, Ashley was going to help her do it. The end, or just the beginning. As I stared at the message, my pulse pounded. I had won the battle, but the war, that had only just begun. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
See you.